It's been another week of smooth progress. No hiccups, no bugs, just pure productivity. And it looks like we are joined by Hubert today. Wait. Yo, bro, what are you doing? No, put that back. Put that back. Really? Great. Okay. There's been some bugs. Now, for those of you just joining us, we're building an idle game mode for our project. Our hero faces endless waves of charging slimes. Mix in some magic, sprinkle in some legendary loot rolls, and we've got our core concepts starting to come alive. I know. It's not the most thrilling thing yet, but in Hubert's defense, he's a level 1 wizard with no items, fighting the weakest enemy in the game. We've got to start and finish the beginning before we can dive into the good stuff. Dungeons, challenges, raids, and all that chaotic fun in between. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about what went very weird this week. First up, we had Hubert, our little menace. He decided to freeze on the final frame of his attack and just walk forward, staff out, casually deleting everything in his path. It was like watching a pixelated lawnmower. And because I had all the enemies stacked up on top of each other, for debugging efficiency, it looked like Hubert was speedrunning the apocalypse. So what caused this? Honestly, I don't know, which is the worst bug to find, since you can't force repeat it, though I did notice that Hubert had some of his animations out of order. So when Hubert's fully charged up, he's going to do an attack, which he'll pick one out of his 2 attacks, attack or power attack. And originally I had it set to go back to idle mode after attack was finished, and then check for power attack, which wouldn't send him back to idle after the power attack was directly finished, which I believe is what was causing the issue. Several days down the road after I made this fix, if I undo that code, I can't bump into the problem again, which is weird, but for now, it's considered fixed. Now, onto the EXP bug. Classic setup, enemy dies, they drop EXP. Easy enough. But when they die and never actually go away, just sitting there, quietly handing out EXP forever, yeah, we got a bit of a problem. So, I added a second enemy type. I know, 2 enemies, our bestiary floweth over. But with this new one, it's ranged, so I had to tweak the logic a bit, specifically when it moves and when it can attack. Turns out the tweak broke the death animation completely. The enemy would bounce endlessly between the death animation and the attack animation, giving the impression it was just standing there, but never finishing the death animation and calmly and generously releasing endless bounties of EXP. The fix was easy enough, just locking out the death animation from being able to change, but this is definitely a good bug to catch well before release. So, what all have we actually added to the game? Variables, tons of them. This update was all about showing the player real-time info. I wanted to set up things so that when I add new objects or enemies in the future, they just plug into the system and are already working. No reinventing the wheel every time I drop a new slime into the mix. So I've currently built my game up to working state. Enemies now spawn forever. Hubert moves and we track that movement based on his speed. Once his movement reaches a threshold, currently set to 15, we'll spawn in an enemy and assign it stats based on 2 things. 1, how many enemies have spawned so far, and 2, what type of enemy is it. This creates an endless wave of foes that will eventually overpower Hubert and trigger a reset. From there, it's just a balancing act, adding enough events and challenges to keep the player engaged. And if you played my old game, you've already seen a few of what those systems will look like. Outside of our variables, in the core game loop, I added visual feedback for almost all objects. Hover your cursor over an enemy to see their stats, whether you're fighting them or still walking in. You can also click to pin their info for a longer read. This system works the same way for Hubert's stats and his attack meter. Oh, and speaking of that meter, yep, there's a bug. The algorithm for calculating how long it takes to recharge, totally messed up. It'll get fixed. Eventually. I've also added something which was promised in the last video, our first hidden Easter egg member shoutout. This honor goes to my longest standing member, Don Sir, who is now blessed into this world attached to the frost slime. These shoutouts will work just like achievements. Find them and you earn a nice little character buff, along with a bit of backstory that may or may not tie into the rest of the game. And you'll definitely know you found one, because you get a nice little pop-up and a mini fireworks show. So, once again, thank you Don Sir, and thank you to all my members. If you'd like to be immortalized in the game, check out the membership page. Anyone who joins while I'm in development gets some kind of in-game shoutout. And our final feature that was added, and this one gave me the biggest headache, is our new ranged enemy, the frost slime. These guys have a small chance to spawn in instead of a normal slime. Since their range, they can hit you from a distance while you're still focused on another enemy. But once you catch up to them, they should go down easy. The tricky part was their projectile. It's simple enough to bring it straight from them to Hubert, but I wanted a slight arc. So I ended up using 3 different tweens. One to move it horizontally, one to go up, and one to bring it back down. And because tweens are time-based, I had to build the algorithm that shortens the travel time when the enemies are closer, so everything stays in sync. For the longest time, I had trouble with the projectile just disappearing above Hubert's head. Eventually, I realized the projectiles weren't falling at all. Turns out, I was deleting the object as soon as the up tween finished, which is one of the faster tweens, so the down tween never had a chance. Whoops. Now, once we got that fixed, our arc was looking pretty good, and we're just missing a simple splat animation to show when we make contact. And I think with that we cover everything for this update. So, until next time, peace.